Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back playing some Feed the Beast Infinity for episode 19. And look at this, we've started outside for a change. Usually we start our episodes right about over here, ready to start with some technology stuff, ready to work on some machines, also applied Energistics, but not today. Today we're taking a break from the tech stuff and we're going to play around with a little bit of Botania, much like we did with Thaumcraft. We're going to spend an episode or so starting out with the basics of Botania, and then we'll kind of bounce around, play around with some other mods, and then come back to Botania later on in the series, because I kind of want to cover as many mods as we possibly can throughout this series, because there are just so many in this pack, and so many that I usually overlook when doing a playthrough. So I've decided to go ahead and mix things up early this time around, and we're going to play with some Botania. So for those who don't know, Botania is kind of, I want to say a flower mod, but it's so much more than that. You could do a ton of stuff with Botania. There are 4 pages in NEI dedicated to Botania, and today we're going to start out with some of the basics, simply by gathering some flowers. So all of these little cool looking flowers that you see around the world, like this one, the mystical purple flower, I think this one, the mystical black flower, yep, it is, grey? Light grey. Oh, so close. Yellow, brown, all the colors of the rainbow, and all of the colors of the mystical brown flowers. We're going to go ahead and grab as many of those as we can, like so. I think we have a couple inside of our base, and then we're going to head back inside, because unfortunately, although it is a very nice outdoorsy garden mod, we do need to go inside every now and again to craft some stuff up in our AE system. So, before we do though, one thing I do want to mention that I did between the end of last episode and this episode is something that somebody in the comment section actually suggested, and that I think I mentioned like the episode before last, and that is that now, if we go ahead and disable our mob spawner here, we had a problem before where some of the mods would stay, sort of just drop down because they were still on the cursed earth, and then just wander around on the cobblestone below, and then we wouldn't be able to do anything because there'd be mobs in there. But now, if we go ahead and turn this off, there's lava. So all of the mobs, for the most part, apart from these little pesky spiders, will either continue to be pulled along at this conveyor belt and then die when they get to here, or they'll fall into the lava, which is kind of nice. Doesn't really work on the blazes, but it's just a little bit of an added feature to make it a little easier to sort of kill all of the mobs that are not on the conveyor belt. Look at that witch. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. There we go. Alright, so Botania, what do we need to get started? Well, the first thing that we're going to need, or at least the first thing that we're going to make, is this little guy over here. And this is called the Lexicon Botania. Really easy to make. It's just a book and a sapling. We have both of those. We can go ahead and grab this. This is the 163rd edition of the Lexicon Botania. Not sure if that's true, but apparently it might be. And this is your one and only guide to Botania. If we go ahead and open this thing up, it's got a bunch of sections. A really nice little starting screen actually here with some cool little fading animations. And if we go ahead and click on any of these, you can find out about pretty much everything in Botania, which is kind of awesome. We've got functional flora, we've got ender artifacts, we've got generating flora, mana manipulation, basics and mechanics, natural apparatus, and a bunch more. And all you have to do is just left click to go forward, and then right click to go backwards on any of these. And I believe you can even go ahead and I think it's shift right click on any like item from Botania in the game, and it will kind of tell you, it will open the book to that page. So for example, if we were to go ahead and shift right click on this mystical blue flower, it goes ahead and opens the page on mystical flowers. It says, all around the world, you may stumble upon a large variety of mystical flora. Spotting these don't take much work, as flowers themselves emit a fair amount of shine. They do come in a total of 16 different colors, all the colors in Minecraft. It is also possible to grow your own using floral fertilizer. Read on. And we will be making some floral fertilizer later on this episode, but after we've got ourselves the Lexicon Botania, I do know the basics of Botania, so I'm probably not going to be using the Lexicon Botania for today, but if you're going to start playing around with it and go a bit further than we are today, you want to go ahead and grab yourself this thing. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Now, the first thing that we're going to go ahead and make today is this guy, the Petal Apothecary. This thing is fairly easy to make. It's 2 cobblestone slabs, some more cobblestone, and then any kind, I believe, of mystical white petal. You'll see there are 8 pages, 2 recipes a page, 16 colors. You get the idea. And the way that you make a petal is simply grab any color of flower, throw it into a crafting table. I'm going to use one of the ones that we have a ton of, and that gets you a colored petal. Nice. And then we can go ahead and combine that up with the slabs and the cobblestone, like so. Let's try that again. And get ourselves a Petal Apothecary. Nice. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this thing outside. I think in the future, what I might do is set up some kind of, like, greenhouse, or maybe just some kind of building outside here for Botania, because you can't really do it inside. There's a bunch of, like, flowers and stuff that need to be outside to work. So for now, I'm going to kind of put it, here, even though it's kind of in the middle of nowhere and a bit messy, and we're going to expand this cow farm soon. I will move it at some point, but just for the sake of today's episode, we're going to go ahead and put stuff down here. And the way that the thing that I've completely forgotten the name of, somehow. The Petal Apothecary, the way the Petal Apothecary works is it's kind of like where you do all of your crafting, or most of your early game crafting for Botania. Now, the way this thing works, or the way it works for the recipe we're going to use first, is we need a bucket of water, which we can go ahead and grab from our unlimited water source, which is over here, because I did go ahead and make some more overclockers since the end of last episode. You'll notice each of these have 2 in. I even went ahead and made 2 more, but as soon as I put 3 into both of these, that is just too much for our single generator to handle, and they both just run out of power instantly, which is not very good, because then they slow down lower than they would if they had no overclockers in, which is not good. So just bear that in mind. If you are going to go ahead and overclock, I'll try and show you here real quick. If I was to put a 3rd one in both of these like this, you'll notice it goes a lot faster to start off with. But if we come back in a second, once we've done some more Botania stuff, you'll see that the energy is really low, and it's going even slower than it would do without any overclockers, which is never a good thing. So now we've got ourselves some water and the Petal Apothecary. What we could do is we can go ahead and walk out here, throw this in there. We then want to get ourselves a bunch of white petals for the first flower that we are going to make. Now, I kind of hope / think that we have some more white flowers in our AE system. We do, nice. And if we go ahead and grab 2 of those and 2 of those, we get ourselves 4 mystical white petals. And then all we need after that is some seeds from Vanilla Minecraft. There we go, we'll take you and you. And in order to make the first flower that we are going to go ahead and make today, we have to throw all 4 of these petals into the Petal Apothecary just by pressing Q and dumping them in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Follow that up with a seed. And we get ourselves this guy, the Pure Daisy. The Pure Daisy is necessary to move on in Botania, and we're definitely going to need it, so we're going to go ahead and throw this thing down. And basically, this is going to allow us to make 2 new items. Those 2 new items are Living Rock, I believe it's called Living Rock, not Living Stone. I think it's Living Rock, and Living Wood. Let me go ahead and type in Living real quick and see. Actually, we should be able to see over here. Living Rock, yep, and Living Wood. Those are the 2 items that we're going to need. The first one that we are going to make is Living Rock. And to make that, all we have to do is grab some stone, like so. And I'm also going to grab some wood, actually, as well. We might as well go ahead and grab a little bit of that. We have a ton of wood. Look at that. Almost 1,000 wood. Jeez. And basically, if you put any of these 2, the Living Rock or the Living Wood, around this daisy, you can put as many or as little as you want, like so. We could surround it all with wood, we could put a little bit of stone there, we could put like a little bit of stone there, some more wood there, and basically within 60 seconds, I think it is, of being next to this Pure Daisy, the wood or stone will either turn into Living Wood or Living Stone, which is kind of cool. Living Rock, should I say. I'm going to call it Living Stone now, because I've completely just messed myself up. But it will transform, and we'll see that happen any second now. And whilst that's doing that, the next flower that we're going to need to actually start doing stuff with Botania is this guy over here, the Daybloom. The Daybloom is a pretty cool flower, and if I can go ahead and find it again, this guy over here, it requires, you could use it in a blood altar, I believe, to make this thing, but that's not what we're doing today. We're doing this one, and you can see in a Petal Apothecary, we need 2 yellow flowers, 1 orange flower, and 1 blue flower, and that gets us a Daybloom. Let's see, is this going to turn? It should turn any second now. I kind of want it to turn before we go back inside. We do have a blue flower. That's light blue, though, so that's not really going to be too helpful. I think we should have some inside. If not, we can always go flower picking. Come on. You've got this, Daisy. I'm going to call it Daisy the Pure Daisy. Come on, you've got this. It's a she. You can do it. You can turn it into Living Rock and Living Stone. Okay, I'm going inside. When I come back out here, you better have me some Living Rock and some Living Wood. Alright, let's have a look. Do we have what it takes? I know I put a bunch of flowers in here. Mystical. We have 1 orange, which is good. We have quite a lot of blue, actually, which is kind of good as well. So we'll take some of those. What else do we need? We needed orange, blue, and yellow. Okay, yes, we have some yellow as well. Cool. So we'll take 2 of those for now. Don't want to turn them all into petals because we might need them for something later on. I haven't delved too deep into Botania myself, so this is going to be kind of like a learning journey for me after the first section of the mod. But as you can see, we have ourselves some Living Wood and some Living Rock, which is kind of awesome. We can go ahead and grab all this stuff again using our diamond drill, like so. I'm going to go ahead and place some more down because we are going to need quite a bit of this stuff later on in the episode, as well as all of this wood. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll actually get to see some transform. It's kind of a little cool animation, and I kind of want to show you in action here. But let's go ahead and grab, again, some more water real quick. We should really set up an unlimited water source outside. I actually think we should probably do that right about now, because otherwise we're going to have to keep coming back in here all the time to get some water. So let's go ahead and move you over to here again. That should start to fill up with water. There we go. I'll take 1 of those. We'll make ourselves a quick unlimited water source after we get a little bit of shut-eye, because it is indeed very dark outside, and I do not want to go outside during the dark. Okay, good stuff. And I'm hoping we can see this thing transform whilst I'm putting down my unlimited water source. Again, I'll probably move this at some point when we make an actual base area for the Botania stuff. But for now, it can just go here in the ground. Come on, I'm going to go back inside. And I know for a fact, when I come out again, that thing's going to be, like, fully done up with living wood and living rock. And it's just going to... It's going to do it all the time. It's never going to let me see it. Never. Oh, there it is. Okay, we might actually get to see it this time. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, while it's doing that, let's throw you in there. Let's throw the 2 blue. Was it 2 blue? No, it was 1 blue. Ah, there we go. I don't know if we can get those back. Oh, we can. Nice. Right, it was 1 blue, 2 yellow, and 1 orange. And I think, again, we have to throw in a seed to finish off the process. I think. Although I'm not 100% sure. I wonder if we could automate the making of living wood and living rock. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool to think about, actually. If you have any ideas, by the way, if I have to automate that, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. We might have to play around with that. I think it'd be kind of cool to kind of automate some of these magical mods with a little bit of technology. That'd be kind of fun. Let's see. Boom. Nope. Okay. Let's try that again. No. 2 yellow, 1 blue, 1 orange. That's right? Orange. Light blue. Oh, okay. Okay, so we were right with this thing. Let's see. Can we pull all those out? We can. Okay, let's see again. Yellow. Yellow. Orange. And then light blue. Then seeds. No. That's not what I wanted to do. Give me back that dark blue one. There we go. Then seeds. There we go. That gets us a day bloom. Nice. And basically, what the day bloom is, in kind of simple terms, it's kind of like a... Oh my goodness. Get out of here. Get down that hole. No. Okay, well, I turned mob griefing off, so that guy didn't do anything. We're safe. We're fine for now. But anyway, basically, the day blooms generate mana, and mana is kind of like the energy of this mod. Like, if we go into redstone, into thermal expansion and ender IO and all that, we have redstone flux. We have EU, which I believe stands for electric unit, after the comment section of last episode. For industrial craft, for Thermcraft, we have kind of the aspects. We have all of the aspects, and the V, which kind of work as the energy units for Thermcraft, and then Blood Magic obviously has the blood. For Botania, we kind of have the mana, and this thing here is kind of like a solar panel of the Botania mod, and it produces mana just from the sunlight. That's why we have to be outside for this. So if we just go ahead and put that down there, this thing is producing mana. Now, we can't see that mana because we don't have the proper tool to actually see it. Now, in order to see it, we need a wand from Botania. So we're going to make one. Let's go ahead and get rid of all these. And again, I'm going to put some more down, like so. We'll take some more wood and some more stone and do something like this. I'm going to do about half and half every time, like so. And we're going to go inside and we're going to make ourselves a wand from Botania. And that's going to allow us to see how much mana is inside that day bloom. Now, the day blooms are really slow and don't produce all that much mana. And we're going to need quite a few more of them in order to produce a decent amount of mana. But for now, if we were to go ahead and make ourselves something like one of these wands of the forest, we should be on the right track. Now, a living wood twig is one of the first things we're going to need. And that is made with 2 living wood, like so. And then I believe all we have to do is combine it with 2 petals. Any 2 colors you want, actually. Is this purple? It is. I think I want to use purple as a color. We'll use purple and blue. Purple and blue sound cool. We'll throw purple up there, and then blue down there. And is that all right? Almost. Okay, so we need a few more living wood twigs. So it's a good thing I kind of made a couple more of these. So we'll do something like that. 2 and 3. And then we'll combine all of those up. 1, 2, 3. With the blue and the purple. Was that right? No? Oh, almost. Okay, blue and the purple to get ourselves a wand of the forest. Nice, and it's the colours that you make. It doesn't matter what colours you choose. They are completely cosmetic. All of the wands do exactly the same thing. As far as I'm aware, I don't think they do anything different. But basically now, if we go ahead and have a look at this Daybloom, you'll see it says Daybloom unknown status. And if we go ahead and right-click, you'll see it's full of mana. This thing is full of mana right now, which is kind of awesome. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get that mana out of the Daybloom and into a usable format. Now, the way that we use mana in Botania is inside a mana pool. If we go ahead and have a look back in Botania at the mana pool, which I believe is on the front page, it is. We have the normal mana pool, which requires a mana pool to make. Now, that might sound a bit confusing, but basically there's an earlier tier of mana pool called the diluted mana pool. This thing is made of living rock. Look at that, as if it came in useful. Here we go. We can go ahead and do something like this. Grab ourselves a diluted mana pool, and then in order to get the mana from the Daybloom to the diluted mana pool, we are going to need a mana spreader. That's this guy over here, and this thing is made with yet more living wood, which we actually don't have, so we're going to have to go ahead and grab hopefully some more outside. There we go. Look at that. It's all done. And we should probably eat some apples real quick so we don't die. And we should also probably get a better food source at some point. Once we have the cow farm up and running, which I'll probably do next episode before the world download, so it's all like nicely tied up, we should be able to get a bunch of steak ready for us, which would be a lot nicer. Let's go ahead and grab all of this again. Like I said earlier, it would be nice to be able to automate this at some point. Did I just dig that up? I think I might have done. This diamond drill can dig both, like, it can mine and shovel at the same time, but not there. That's completely lied. The diamond drill does act as both a shovel and a pickaxe, by the way, guys. So do bear that in mind if you're going to make one. But anyway, we should, if we go back into our AE system, now be able to do something like this. I think they're just throwing any kind of petal and get ourselves a mana spreader. Nice. And now all we got to do is head on back outside. Stick this guy down somewhere near the Daybloom over here, and then stick the mana pool down. So I'm going to put this right about here. Yeah, I'm going to put it right about here. And then we're going to go ahead and put the diluted mana pool right about there. Now, you'll see right now we can't really see anything. If we grab the wand, you'll see the direction in which the mana spreader is shooting at the mana. If we now look at this Daybloom, if we right-click again, you'll see it's empty. And if we right-click on the mana spreader, you'll see it's got a little green blodge right there at the beginning of that bar. And that is the tiny little amount of mana that it got from this Daybloom. And once this thing gets enough mana, you'll see like a big green burst. Even without the wand, you'll see a big green burst fly from the mana spreader to the diluted mana pool, and that will be the mana transferring from here into here. And then once we get enough mana in the diluted mana pool, we can basically make another diluted mana pool, throw it into the mana pool once it's got mana, and that will get us a normal mana pool, which you can then use to pretty much make everything else. We can turn zombie brains into leather, and we can use it to make a ton of stuff. Now, some of these are really basic recipes. Some of them are kind of cool, and we're going to use it later on for sure. Look at all this stuff. We can do so much stuff. Kind of like equivalent exchange almost. We're just like exchanging mana into other stuff, which is kind of awesome. Look at all this. We can turn redstone into glowstone. I didn't even know that. So I don't even know half these recipes. There's 111 recipes in this thing. So what I'm going to do now, guys, for the time being, is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut away, I'm going to make a bunch more Dayblooms and stick them around here, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so a little while later, I've gone ahead and made 5 more Dayblooms, so we can go ahead and start to place these down near our original Daybloom, and they will help provide the mana spreader with mana, which will then send it to the diluted mana pool, which is eventually going to become the actual mana pool. Now, there is a specific way in which you're supposed to put multiple Dayblooms down. For example, if we go ahead and open up the Botania here, and just shift right click on the Daybloom and go across to the next page, you'll see here it says bad and then good. If you place all of the Dayblooms down next to each other, kind of like this, remove that one to there, that's bad. This is a bad setup for Dayblooms. You do not want them to be kind of touching each other like this. Eventually, you'll see sort of yellow particles indicating, I think I have my particles on all, yeah. You'll see like little yellow particles showing you this is a bad setup, and you get a little bit more mana out of it if you go ahead and instead kind of place them down a little bit like this, with a little gap, at least diagonally in between them all, like so. This gets you a lot more mana than just having them all clumped together, although it might seem a bit wasteful on, like, size of land, I guess. This is much more efficient in terms of getting mana, and if we go ahead and have a look, you'll see it's got quite a bit there. We should, in a second, maybe see a bit of a spurt of mana. I kind of want to show you one of these on camera here. You can see there is some mana in the diluted mana pool now. It says accepting mana from items, so this should kind of spurt over in a second. There you go. That's what a little mana spurt looks like. You can see there's now more mana in the diluted mana pool. Still only a very, very small amount. These things, although we now have a few of them, still only produce a really tiny tiny amount of mana, and there are better ways to produce mana later on in the game. And finally, one of the last things that I kind of want to look at is how to get more flowers, because right now, if I wanted to get more yellow flowers to make more day blooms, I'd kind of just have to travel further and further outwards to find more yellow flowers and use them to make myself some more day blooms. However, there is a way to make more flowers, sort of make it happen more quickly, if you will, and that is by making yourselves some floral fertilizer, which is actually really easy to make. You're going to need some normal bone meal, like you would with any kind of fertilizer, and if we go ahead and look somewhere in NEI over here, not quite sure where it is, so we have to do a little bit of flicking through the pages. Or we could just go ahead and type it in. Floral fertilizer. This thing over here looks a bit derpy because it has a fax texture, but it's really easy. It is just a bone meal and then some any type of floral colored powder. Now, the way that you get floral colored powder is with a pestle and mortar. Pestle and mortar. This thing over here, really easy to make. It is a stick, a piece of wood, and a bowl, all of which we have. So if we go ahead and grab that, get ourselves some form of mystical flower, and then go ahead and grind that up into the powder. You get 1 powder per petal, and then all we have to do is use 4 petals and some bone meal. I think this might actually be shapeless, so I think you can kind of put it anywhere in the crafting table like that, and you get yourself some floral fertilizer. Nice! And then if we go ahead and take this outside and just right-click on the grass anywhere, I think we get about 4 new flowers. Look at that. 1. We got 3 that time. I think you can get like more than that, maybe 4 or 5 sometimes. But we got more flowers, which is kind of cool. And those flowers will get us 6 petals, which we can then turn 4 of those into floral fertilizer. So we do get more petals, or more, I guess, petal dust potential, I guess, than we do actually using the fertilizer there. So you do get more petals out of it. So if you just did that over and over and over again, eventually you would end up with loads and loads of flowers, which is pretty awesome. And finally, I guess, I said finally before, but one of the last things that I'm going to try and do here is make the actual mana pool, because that thing is kind of necessary to do anything else with Botania. So let's head on back inside. We do have enough living rocks, so let's go ahead and do something like this, and we should be able to see now if we can make the higher tier of mana pool. So let's see if I can really quickly find it in here. I think if you start typing, you can actually search through it. So if I type in like pool, I think we have to be in the lexicon index, which shows you everything. And I just type in pool. It tells us about the mana pool. This thing, the mana pool, is simply put the storage of mana. Yeah. Let's see. Can we put this? It tell us? Yeah, it just says drop it in. So if we go over to the diluted mana pool and take a look, it should tell us if it's ready to do this. You'll see there's a little tick in the middle there. If we didn't have enough mana, if we had like less mana than we have now, it would have a little cross in. But if we go ahead and press Q, drop it in, we get ourselves a normal mana pool, which I'm going to go ahead and kind of just instantly replace because it's so much better. And I think with that, guys, I'm going to end the episode there. So what I'll do, hopefully, maybe between this episode and next, but maybe just between this and the next time we play with Botania, I'm going to go ahead and make some kind of greenhouse to put all this stuff in, and we'll play around with some Botania later on in the series. I'm probably going to do something similar to what I did with Thermcraft. We'll start it, we'll wait a couple of episodes, we'll come back to it later in the series once we've got like a mana pool full of mana and maybe a couple more day balloons, because I kind of do want to jump around and play with all of the mods in this pack instead of focusing in on one mod like I usually do. And for some reason, every time we update, some of these flipping panels change to darkwood panels. It's really annoying. I'll probably go ahead and fix those again before the world download. But with that, guys, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like, and I will see you next time.